Hello my crafting bunnies, it's Mio and today I have a needle felt tutorial for you. Despicable Me is by far my most favorite animated movie at this time because I just love Agnes. She is my favorite character, so I decided to recreate her using needle felt. I will say this project in general is a little bit more difficult because it has a lot more details and is more intricate, but I promise you in general needle felt is a pretty easy craft to pick up, so if you are new to needle felting, just be patient. If you spend some time, you'll be able to create this really awesome character. So if you guys like more videos like these, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up if you haven't already, and do check out my other social media websites such as Instagram and Twitter to get previews of things to come. Alright, let's go ahead and just get this tutorial started, shall we? To start this project, you're going to need a needle felting board, which is pretty much a foam board. If you don't have that, you can use a household sponge and of course a felting needle. This is a special needle used purposely for needle felting. You can't see it, but there are actually different ridges on the side, so a regular needle is not going to work for this. And of course you're going to need some wool. I'm starting off with some very light beige wool to be the skin color of Agnes, and I'm going to roll this into a small little ball to form the head. It doesn't have to be perfect because what you're going to do is stick your needle into the wool to help reshape it and make it into a perfect circle. The wool has really small crosslinks that you can't see, and every time you put the needle into the wool, it forms those crosslinks and holds its shape. So the more you needle felt, the smaller, denser, and the better shape it looks. Once you form the head, you're now going to add a little bit of cheeks to Agnes because she has some really nice cheeks you can pinch. I put some wool in the front of her head and just needle felt this down and gently shape it into the head like so. This process took about 5 minutes. Now to form the hair of Agnes, I took some black wool and I just placed it on the top of the head and just go ahead and needle felt this down. Just be conscientious of where the top of the head is. Make sure you're not needle felting this onto the cheeks or anything like that. And you'll notice that there's some pieces of wool that kind of slide down the part, and I kind of left it there because Agnes has some hair on the sides that go in front of her ear. For her bangs, I kind of pressed the needle gently into where I think the bangs should end, and just be very careful about how you needle felt the hair on because you want to make sure that the details look really nice. So this is what the head looks like once I covered it with some black hair, and I'm going to go ahead and needle felt a black little cone, and this is going to be the top of her ponytail. To attach the ponytail to the top of the head, I placed the edge of my scissors into the top of the head where I think the ponytail belongs and kind of made a little small cut and a little small hole there. Insert the hair in, and you can place a little bit of extra wool there to help hold the hair in place. But that's all you have to do. You don't need any glue, just needle felt the two pieces together and you'll see that Agnes now has some really cute hair. Now I'm going to form the little circles around the hair to form her red headband like you see in the movie. You can roll the red wool into a small little ball and gently needle felt these in place. So this is what Agnes's hair looks like so far, and I gently put in some small ears on each side. I know I'm not showing all the details, but you kind of get the general gist. Needle felting is kind of all the same thing. To form the eyes, I needle felted some white wool onto the parts where her eyes are, and I add a little bit wool so you can get a three-dimensional view of her nose. For her mouth, you can just needle felt where you think the mouth belongs, and if you just poke your needle in there enough, it'll form a dent, and that dent will help form some three-dimensional texture to the face. And go ahead and fill in all the details of Agnes' face. So I gave her brown eyes, I went ahead and needle felted some eyebrows on her, and the actual pupils of Agnes's eyes are black, so instead of needle felting something black in, I went ahead and took a black permanent marker and just kind of dotted the center. And that's pretty much how I made Agnes's head. And to move on to the body, which has a lot more parts, I'm going to start off with her shirt. So I took some yellow wool and needle felt this into a small stubby cone. You want to make sure that this cone is in proportion to her head. You don't want it too big or too small, and this is how big my torso is. And I went ahead and made two small little cones, and these are going to form her arms. So go ahead and needle felt this to the very top on one side, and it will form the sleeve of her shirt, and you're going to need two sleeves for her shirt. Agnes actually wears a t-shirt, and so there's actually a flesh part that you can see where her neckline is. So I took some light beige wool, that's the matching color of her head, and just needle felt this on the very top and added a small little cylinder at the top of the shirt to form her neck. And as you can see, it's really coming together. I used some darker brown felting wool and just kind of formed little striped lines along her shirt because that's what her shirt looks like in all of the Despicable Me movies. And this is what the top looks like so far. Now I'm going to move on to her bottom. So she's wearing some denim overalls, so I'm going to start off with 2 cones that I went ahead and needle felted already, and needle felt these 2 cones to the bottom of her shirt, and these are going to form her legs. And then I know it doesn't look perfect, but I'm going to take some extra blue felting wool and just cover the bottom portion and just needle felt that away. And I have a small little semicircle that I'm going to put in her chest, and that's going to form the top part of her overalls. With some long felted wool strings, I guess, they're little snakes that I needle felted earlier, I'm going to crisscross them on the back and attach them to the front of her overalls so they look just like the overalls in the movie. Now I know this tutorial is going by very quickly, but keep in mind this project took me maybe 2 hours to create. It just takes time to needle felt. You just want to be very careful and make sure all the details are in place, and if things aren't perfect, you can just keep needle felting away until all the details are the way you want it. So this is pretty much what her overalls look like. I went ahead and needle felted a little circle in the very front of her overalls. It forms a little dent and it looks like the pocket of her overalls. Now to form the buttons, I decided to use some polymer clay, and I used some red clay, roll them into small little buttons and bake them. And while they were baking in the oven, I went ahead and took some white wool and needle felted 2 little ovals to form her shoes. I put a small little dent in the center of her shoes so that I can add a little bit of wool there and needle felt those onto her overalls. Once you're happy with how the body of Agnes looks, you can go ahead and attach the body onto the head. Now keep in mind, I have been eyeballing and putting the body to the head several times to make sure that the proportions are appropriate. So you want to make sure you do that too, because you don't want her body too big or her head too small or something like that. So I went ahead and poked a small little hole where I think the body's going to attach, add a little bit of wool, and needle felted the 2 pieces together. And the final touch is to add some buttons on. So I went ahead and baked my buttons already. I'm just going to hot glue them onto her overalls, and that's really all you have to do to create Agnes. It's a very easy project. It's just very, very time consuming. But in general, I really loved how this project turned out. I love Agnes so much. I think she's super adorable. I didn't have time, but if I did, I would have went ahead and needle felted her unicorn so she can hug it. But I really loved how this project turned out, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it just as much as I did. So if you liked this video or found this video useful, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not a subscriber yet. And do check out my other social media websites such as Instagram and Twitter to get previews of videos to come. And if you like Despicable Me, let me know in the comments below which of the Despicable Me movies is your favorite. I actually went out and saw Despicable Me 3 the other day, and I absolutely loved the movie. And in general, I just love Agnes, so anytime she's in the movie, it's always a win for me. So let me know in the comments below if you like the first, second, or third movie. And for more videos, of course, stay tuned, and I'll have more projects coming out. If you love needle felting, here is your video. Just stay tuned for more. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys soon. Have fun crafting. Bye!